Thursday. Short video for you today because I mentioned something, I don't know if it was yesterday, a couple days ago, but I mentioned that I was at about 40 books that I've read this year. Every year for the last at least 5 years, I've set the goal of reading 52 books in a year. And this year, due to a variety of circumstances, things going on in my personal life and my business life and things like that, I only read 39 books. Oh, the horror, only 39 books. So I was feeling pretty good about that. I'm like, yeah, close enough to 40. 40 is close enough to 52. And I was thinking about it a little bit more. I'm like, man, the year that my baby was born, I managed to pull it off. I think I got I don't think I made it quite to 52, but I think I made it to 49. I was like, am I phoning it in a little bit? So it's feeling like maybe I'm phoning it in a little bit. And I was thinking about it as I've been making these statements like, oh, I'm not going to reach my goal by the end of the year. It's impossible. Statements like that, which I was challenged on. And I started thinking, I was like, okay, I've read 39 books to get to 52. Basic math. I'm going to blow you away with my number skills here, but that is 13 books in the next 15 days because it's the 17th and there are 15 days left until January 1st. So that's a book a day, pretty much a book a day. I could take a holiday on Christmas Day. I could take a holiday on Christmas Eve if I wanted to, but aside from that, it's like, could I really read 13 books in 13 days? And then that was exciting. So I thought, why not? Let's try it. I've never done anything. Well, no, that's not true at all. I was going to say I've never done anything as crazy as this, but I've done plenty that is much crazier than this. This just feels like a good way to maybe close out the year. Maybe it'll be totally stupid. We'll see. So what I did is I created a list of what those 13 books could be. And I also figured out where I could find them because I have different platforms that I use to listen and read books. So I read books on either Scribd or Kindle or hard copy. And I listen to books on either Scribd or Audible. So those are kind of like my options where I look for things. I usually default to looking for books on Scribd first because it's free. It's like a monthly subscription service for books, and all kinds of books and all kinds of audiobooks. It's a great service. I've been using it for a couple of years now. And I have a couple things on the go. I'm going to share with you my list. And I did. So if you guys have ever used Goodreads, it's basically like a social media app. It's not an app. It is an app. It's also a website for books and for reading. So when you save a book on your shelf for a book that you want to read on Goodreads, you can actually look at that entire list and you can organize it in different ways. And one of the ways you can organize it is by page count. So I was able to go into my Goodreads account and see, okay, what are the easiest, the fastest books that I already have said that I want to read. So I'm not phoning it in the sense where I'm just picking whatever random short books, but I'm picking books that I've specifically said that I want to read, that I've added to this shelf. And I've read some big books this year. I've read The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. That is a thick tome. That is like George R.R. Martin style writing. I've read 2 Michael Greger books, which are also very dense. So I haven't phoned it in for the rest of the year. So I figure, you know what? I'm gonna just pick some short 1 to 200 page books for these 13. I'm gonna share with you what they are. So to start things off, I thought, you know what? I have the hard copy of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I haven't read it since I was a kid, and it's Christmas, so there's an easy one. Knock that one off. Getting Things Done. Not a short book, but I've read it before. This is a classic personal development book by David Allen. And a friend of mine wants to go through it and kind of reorganize her work life and personal life. And I'm on board. I love getting into the organizational spirit around the new year. So I figure this is one that I'll do as a way to kind of map out next steps for New Year planning and stuff like that. I have 2 books that I already have on the go. One is called Unconditional Parenting, which is not a short book. I'm reading it on Scribd right now, so I'm just going to finish that one. And I'm listening to an audiobook on Audible called The Coddling of the American Mind. Again, not a short book, but really interesting, and I'm halfway through it, so I might as well just see that one through to the end. So the short ones that I have on the go, I have the $150,000 music degree, and Derek Sivers also has a new book that is called something. I was reading it. I'm halfway through it. That's the book I picked today, and I don't remember the title. Something about the music industry. He released it privately. I don't think he released it through retailers like Kindle or anything, but it's basically like a music industry book with 88 lessons on creativity and marketing and things like that. So those are my music ones. I have, the Derek Sivers one was like a kind of private purchase. And the $150,000 Music Degree is a short book that I have on Kindle. Another Kindle book that I have by John Cleese is a short book that I can't remember who recommended this to me, but it's called Creativity, A Short and Cheerful Guide. Sounded cute, sounded up my alley, so we're gonna go with that. There's a book that I've been meaning to read. So a lot of people have read a book by Paul Coelho, I can't remember his last name, called The Alchemist, and I've read that. It was okay. It's a little like fluffy for my taste, but I do have another book of his on my Kindle already that I might as well read, called Warrior of the Light. Not expecting to love it, but I have been meaning to read it for like 2 years. So that one. There's a Stephen Pressfield book that I have on Audible called Turning Pro. Now, Stephen Pressfield wrote a really famous book called The War of Art. Love it, so I expect to like this one, a nice and short listen. And then I'm basically rounding up my list with 4 Alan Watts books. So the nice thing about Alan Watts books is that most of them are short. I've read The Taboo on Knowing Who You Are. It's some title like that. And The Wisdom of Insecurity. So those are Alan Watts classics. It's a sort of philosophical, 1960s, 70s kind of, he was like a big person in the psychedelic movement and stuff like that too. But I find his writing to be pretty interesting. He writes a lot on meditation and Zen and things like that. He was pretty influential in bringing Eastern meditation thought and stuff like that over to the West. I don't know a lot about that, but anyway, he's an interesting person, so I figure, okay, lots of short books. I can listen to them on audio on script. I can read them on script too, so that's like a good way to kind of round things out. And that will get me to 13, hopefully. So what I want to do is I want to tell you this now for the accountability and for, if anyone wants to join me. Are you guys crazy enough to read like a book a day for some amounts of days? I don't know. I feel like maybe not, but if you are, you should tell me, and we'll do this together, and I'll do a recap in the new year when it's all over. And if you have any really short book recommendations that you'd like to add to my pile, anything around, like 100 to 200 pages, feel free to let me know if you think there's something like, oh man, you have not lived until you've read this. One of my favorite books of all time is by Leo Tolstoy. It's called The Death of Ivan Ilyich. It's about 80, 90 pages, just so it's like a tiny little novella, but I've already read that, so that would be one of my favorites that I'd recommend to someone else who's trying to finish out maybe their yearly challenge. But anyway, that's my video for today. Thanks for hanging out with me, and tomorrow we'll probably talk a little bit more about time management, goals, stuff that we've been talking about a little bit this week. So I'll talk to you guys later.